right, it's 2021, and I am setting out goals for the new year, which means that I looked back at 2020 and assessed what was going well, what could use improvement, how I'm feeling overall, all of that stuff. And that's what I based my goals for 2021 off of. So I guess I'll share that because I think this stuff is helpful, especially if you're trying to get into the business to kind of see what the everyday looks like. Expectations going into something new are so important. You must make sure that you have your expectations set at a healthy level because that's what stops so many people from starting something. They have their expectations set way too high because they've only seen what they want to get into from the outside. And it always looks different from the outside than it actually is from the inside in a practical sense. So if you kind of get an idea of where I'm at, on my path and how I approach challenges and things like that, then hopefully it's helpful to anybody else. Okay, so I'll get started. My goals for 2021. 1, I want to find more balance and get better at time management. I wiped myself out this year. I was so fortunate to be getting so many projects, and it's so hard for me to say no to opportunity, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it means that I have to be aware of how I'm going to fill up my cup energetically, because all day long, when you're doing voiceover or acting or, perhaps any other kind of art, you're giving away your emotions and your energy all day long. That is your form of currency. That's the service that you're providing. So you have to be aware of that. When you're giving your emotion all day, when anybody's giving their emotion all day, then you need to be conscientious of how you're going to fill your cup. And for me, that's through deliberate action and meditation. I'm starting to dabble in Tai Chi, which I love, yin yoga practices, things that are very meditative. I love to get into art. I love to learn about plants. Anything that you're interested in that is a very soothing and cathartic type of activity. Things that make you feel re-energized are things that I would say are very important for at least me to make room for. So that's one of my big goals. I'm looking for bigger projects, which is kind of the goal for everyone. Once you get started and you're consistently making work and you're excited about it, what's your next goal? Set your sights wherever you're wanting to go. And for me, I want to get in on bigger projects so I can work my way towards projects that are very collaborative and are filled with passion and creativity and really give me an opportunity to dive into characters and explore them and explore who I am and see what I want to bring to the table, things that require more time and attention, longer term projects. And those tend to be larger projects. Those are the ones that everyone wants to get to a lot of the time whenever they're kind of climbing the ladder in the industry. So I want to set my sights there, get into bigger projects, and the goals for 2021 are the practical layout of how I'm going to get there. So, for example, I'm really interested in audiobooks. I've done a few. Those were the very first projects I had whenever I first got into voiceover, but I'm really interested in getting in on good audiobooks. And so what I've been doing over the past year are slowly collecting the pieces for my audiobook demo, which I want to make a video about that because it's a totally different approach than your commercial demo, at least in my experience. So I want to get into more audiobooks, bigger ones. So my sister works with me. So what we're doing is we're looking at audiobook production companies to reach out to, and looking for award shows that we might want to present at and start to build credibility. And that is so important. For example, this YouTube channel is me building credibility, and it's fun. And, obviously it helps people, and I'm, all for that as well. And finally, this is something that actually comes very natural for me, but I'll say it anyways because it's always a goal that I have, which is education. And whenever you're first getting started, you soon figure out the things that you need to learn which are, learning which audio recording software you're going to be using is a big one. If you're really just getting started, if you just bought yourself a microphone, you need to learn how to work your equipment. That's a goal, right? And that's something that you need to learn. And then once you're working a bit, then you need to kind of figure out what, the craft form is about. You quickly learn that when you sit down and you read what's on the page, it's a much more complicated game than just being literate, And that's the next thing that you kind of figure out, like, how do you, what is it that you're doing here? And for me, it's kind of like you're connecting emotionally and you're taking on a perspective and you're breathing life into a project. And you have a very unique way of doing that in a way. It's kind of like when you hear different types of music and you find music that has the most interesting emotion to it. It's not just happy, sad, angry, epic, whatever, but it has an interesting and well-formed emotion to it. And that's basically what you're doing whenever you're in voiceover. You're trying to find a unique, beautiful, cool perspective that fits exactly with what your client is looking for or with whatever art project you're working on. So education is always a focus for me. So right now I'm working with my dialect coach. This is the second, I've been with her for a while. This is the second course that I'm taking with her. And it's about learning accents and things like that and how to, assess the speaking apparatus essentially and how to manipulate it and really understanding sound and what makes different tonal sounds and, in terms of accents, how to see someone's accent, how to take on an accent, how to, dissect it. So that's what I've been focusing on. I also do an acting class regularly every week, which is amazing. And then once I'm done with my dialect coach for this course and I kind of marinate on all the lessons that I've learned, then I'm probably going to start looking into getting into singing. One, because I like it, but two, I really want to be able to have full command over my vocal range and be able to, it's another form of art that is about vocals, and I just want to learn it. And I'm sure that no matter what, it'll come back and feed voiceover. So there's that as well. So those are really the three main goals that I have. One, find more balance and time management. Two, get in on bigger projects. And right now my focus is on audiobooks. And then three is to just continue education. And I think boiled down, that's a very healthy goal for the new year. It's not all about money, but it's a little bit about money. And then, it'll help me whenever I feel a little out of whack, whenever I start to feel a little overstressed, then I come back to those goals and hopefully it will set me right. So anyways, I hope that was helpful. Any questions or comments or whatever, tell me. Bye.
We could drive